Good evening. The opinions and statements voiced by our guests do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this network. Enjoy the shows.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
We've been expecting you.
Monday, time for our maven of the supernatural, Denise Pridemore. This is the Paranormal Pride. Join to listen and chat live on WBHM-DB.com or Spreaker app. Search WBHM-DB every Monday at 7 p.m. Central for your supernatural paranormal fix. Welcome to the Paranormal Pride, where the show is about the guest and the listener.
Welcome to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and my guests tonight are Jay and Teresa Lynch. And what I find unusual, one of the things that Ron always says is unusual, is a married couple actually, that investigate. Because he doesn't see that often, and for the next 2 weeks, that's what I have. But Ron and I investigate together, and you guys apparently hang out together a lot doing paranormal stuff. And so I wanted some people to hear you guys and hear some of your stories, because from what I understand, you guys are a hoot. And I've had John before, so you guys are returning guests to the Paranormal Pride. So welcome, Jay and Teresa Lynch, to the Paranormal Pride.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm surprised you invited me back after I acted the last time.
Me too.
Well, you know what? Sometimes it's the company you keep. But, the company you were keeping, though, is still a good friend of mine. So, and I understand, because that's just how life is. So,
story of my life. I wouldn't have any friends if it wasn't for my wife.
Right.
Well, your wife is very special. She has to be. So, for a lot of reasons. But
yes.
I put up with this, you know what?
Yeah, well, Teresa, I hope you're feeling a lot better, because I know you've had a lot of health issues recently.
I have, and I'm getting ready to go down again for 2 months.
For what?
I'm having my knee replacement done finally.
Is that from kicking your husband and getting his butt into gear?
Yeah, I got my foot stuck up his rear end, and I twisted wrong, and now I have to get my knee replaced.
Well, that was my first assumption when you said that. So, but
I kicked that eye.
Well, if you're going to get it done when the weather's crappy, so you can sit at home and watch the weather on TV and go, well, I'm glad I don't have to go out.
Right. Well, that's what I figured. And we don't do much paranormal-wise December and January.
Right, because most of those places aren't heated.
Right.
We don't?
Not a lot. Not a lot. So that was the 2 months that we're not filming or, we're lining stuff up for the next year.
Right.
We do occasional open investigation, like up at Collingwood.
101.
101, yeah.
I mean, we know several places. We was looking at booking the Rhodes Hotel through the cold months, because there are a lot of places out there that are heated. Or at least we have several in the surrounding area around us. So, we named just those three alone. Plus, there's others here in Ohio and Kentucky that we know that are heated, or at least have rooms that you can go get warmed up in. They have a heated room.
Yeah.
Our facility's heated.
Well, and you're not out in the elements.
Yeah.
Well, but sometimes, okay, we just did Malvern Manor on Sunday night, and it snowed. Okay, well, just give you a heads up. Every time we go to Iowa, to Malvern Manor, it snows. Okay, we booked it in August, and I told Josh Hurd, I said, it's going to snow on this day. I told him in August, it's going to snow on this day, and it did.
Wow.
Because it always happens. Or if we book it in the summer, it's 110.
Oh, gosh.
Doesn't matter. Okay, there's only heat in one room there, and it's 10,000 square feet, so the whole location. But it was still, yeah, you might have been out of the wind, but when we got up the next morning, we noticed the reason why we were still cold was because there was snow in our room.
Oh,
my
wow.
gosh.
We had a space heater on, and apparently it was just going right out the window.
Wow. That would not make for a good morning.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't go to bed till 5 o'clock, and we got up at 8:30, so it wasn't like we slept a long time. Yeah. But you know, the good news is prices are going up next year at Malvern Manor. So if you decide to go in the winter next year, there will be heat in more of the house. But this air conditioning, they got air conditioning in most of the place any other time, so it works out in the summertime. But you know, a lot of the places here, like the Villisca Axe Murder House, there's only a kerosene heater in there. There's no heat in there.
See, that works for me. Teresa's like, that's a little bit too rough in it for me. She's
No, and if I have to go to the bathroom,
Oh, the barn has heat. Where the bathroom is for the Villisca Axe Murder House, there's heat there in the barn.
okay, that's not so bad then.
But of course, if you want something to eat, you got to go quite a ways to get food. You know, Casey's or Clarinda or another town. So 9, 10 miles to get.
I think that's the reason why some of our friends like to investigate with this, because I'm a fat guy and I travel with food. I usually take, a meat and cheese and crackers and vegetables. I pack a cook with me just about everywhere I go when we investigate. I'm not going all night without eating. If I got to stay up all night, I'm having a snack.
Oh yeah, let's just say we didn't starve. We had chili cheese hot dogs and
See, I'm eating
food all night. But the thing is when you go to some of these places, there's nothing nearby. Yeah. But so I'm glad to hear that you guys have places out there that have heat. A lot of the places, like I said, that we go to, there's no heat. Right now, there's a lot of places out here we still can't get to because it's still flooded.
Man.
Oh, wow.
So, those floods that you heard about in Iowa and Nebraska back in the spring, apparently we're still suffering from flooding in parts of Iowa and Nebraska because we saw it. So if you guys are looking for some place to do and send money to, the Red Cross in Iowa and Nebraska probably still needs some help. But it was horrible.
Going on.
I didn't know it was still going on.
Yeah.
Well, we still have roads closed, even in Kansas, because they're still letting water out of the dams. So, it's like we can't get from St. Joe, Missouri to Atchison, Kansas some days because the Missouri River's out of its banks because of the dam, because of them letting water out of the dams.
Wow.
Mm-mm.
So
anything about that back this way now?
No. Why would you? I mean, it's one road here, one road there. It's not a huge deal, but the poor people who live in some of those houses will never get back in their houses.
It's a huge deal for them.
Yeah. So it's a huge deal for my husband. He has to go across those roads a lot for his job. So, but yeah, it's sucky. So keep that in mind. If you're coming out this way, there's still some flooding. But if you want to go duck hunting, you can do it right off of Interstate 29. Because the ducks are just sitting there.
Wow. It
was amazing. But so you guys, the Rhodes Hotel's not that far from you guys, and the Collingwoods Art Center, that's one that you guys do a lot of events at, right?
We hooked up with that through Jason Arthur. With once me and him started really working together with LEP Productions and Paranormal Mysteries, we started really getting hooked up with that because it's very close to him, not just physical wise, but also his mom used to be a student and a teacher there. It used to be an all girls Catholic school.
Oh.
And so it's got a long history there in Toledo, and is still very involved in the community. They still do community projects there. They have a community theater there. It's a safe place for the LGBT community. It's got a whole lot involved, and they host one of the ladies that run it, Lexi, is a wonderful lady, but she hosts the Pride out of there for the Pride Toledo and things. So it survives completely off what it rents and what it can get on donations, and so that's why we were so involved with it. It's so close to my brother Jason. And he asked if we mind helping out, and he was like, "Heck no!" And it's a phenomenal place to investigate.
Location.
It's huge, and it's got a big theater in it and everything. And you got sub basements and the basements off of that, and where it was a Catholic school, there's actually one area on the back side of where the theater is. It's the fourth and fifth floor, is where the nuns' quarters were at, and you can still get into those now and investigate and things. So it's. And of course, they were there for their entire lives. So some of them did pass away there in the premises and things. So
that's where Jason and I had most of our activity.
Yeah, that's when they had most of their activity there. But it's an amazing location. The history of it alone is phenomenal.
Not to mention it's beautiful.
Yeah, the building's beautiful. The history is phenomenal. But to me, that's one of my biggest likes about the paranormal is finding out the history of these buildings and the history of the town and things. I love that part of it. I don't see how you can. To me, I couldn't be involved in the paranormal and not find out the history also.
I agree. I'm huge on the history part. In fact, I love it when they start telling you legends and you're going, that doesn't sound like that could be true.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you go out there and you research it and you're going, I can't find anything about that to be true.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I will dig and dig and dig and try to find facts in it. I mean, and I know that you've heard some of the stories about some of the stuff that I found out that was false.
Yeah.
Because of your past associations with some friends of mine.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's a lot of things out there in the paranormal community that people don't want to know the facts. They like the legends. And
but the legends are usually more exciting than the facts.
Oh, I know.
Well, I think the legends draw the people to the location. And then they find out what it actually is.
But sometimes the facts are even more bizarre than the legends.
That's true.
That is true. And that's why I would spend my time telling people, hey, these are the facts. Yeah, the legends are interesting, but here's the facts that go along with that legend. You know, and I think that it makes it more real once you've spent the time to research the factual history of a place, whether it's a town or a building. And sometimes you have to go building to building to figure out all the history. So you also said you guys have some places in Kentucky that you like to go. I know Kentucky very well, but which part of Kentucky?
We've been, we've actually not got hit a lot of it, but we've been working with getting into JC or Jim Lanford, our friend that passed away back in September. We was hitting at Morrison Lodge because he used to head up that Octagon Hall. Shoot, I can't even think of the other ones right now. My mind went blank.
There's two more.
I know. Well, the one place in Kentucky that I never really had a big interest in going was Bobby Mackey's. We've got a lot of people who's been asking us that. Oh, Waverly. We've still not hit Waverly yet. We haven't either. We're 2.5 hours away from it. We've not been yet.
Yeah, I've been to the gate.
I've not even done that.
No.
I happened to take the kids to Churchill Downs.
Yeah.
And it was an exit away, so I took them to the gate and said, well, the gate's locked, so we can't go any further. And that was it. And we'd like to go. It's just I don't want to share it with, 10 other groups I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
We was always, every time we get, someone's like, hey, we're booking Waverly next year. We're going to do it private and stuff. We'll let you guys know. And it just seems like it never works out.
But again, it's still not private. There's still 9 other groups there with you, and they do it floor by floor. So they'll start you out, or 5 other groups, and they start you out on each floor, and then you just rotate. So no matter how private you think it is, it's not private.
Oh, so see, when they tell me it's a private, I thought we was going to be the only ones there, and no, then I'm not going at all.
Yeah, you're better off going just on one of those public tours, public ghost hunts, and just you get better you get better access that way than you're going to get it the other way, because you're still tied to one floor.
Yeah.
Why spend $1,000 for your 10 people and then you still got to share it with 5 other groups?
No, I never understood that. But if they'd said that, I'm like, no, I'm not interested. It's like Tala. I have no interest in going there. Not just because I think the price is exorbitant, and a lot of people pay it, and I hear it's a great location. I'm not knocking it, but it's just not for me. And I don't see the thing with the insurance and all that stuff. I have a disagreement with that part of it, and I'm just respect to them for what they do, and I hope they have a great business there. I just won't be one of them that will be going there for those reasons.
Yeah. I said, I might go to Waverly Hills, but it's going to be for a day tour or something like that. Just to say, hey, I've been there, checked it out, but I'm not willing to pay the exorbitant amount. I don't have it.
No, I'm not either.
And so
I'm a tight one, pretty much.
And then we've been to Bobby Mackey's, and we did a day tour there because it's the only way you can actually get in there privately is in a day tour, because at night you got too much noise. And the lady who gave us the tour, she had Wanda was still alive, but the lady who gave us the tour did a really good job and broke down all the legends and gave us all the facts. And when I went and researched it, she actually gave us facts. And the things that are lies, people really believe.
Oh, yeah, they do.
It's the distiller that it used to be a distillery is amazing. The fact that it looks like, I mean, it feels like the floor is caving in. It's falling into the building is not safe. I don't know how they have bands in there and people dancing, to be honest. Oh. And my mom went there for an event, and she just sat there at the bar, and she goes, you know what's weird? She goes, only thing I felt was trucks driving by, because it's in an industrial area.
I don't know. I've never had an interest in it. Mm-mm. That's just one of the places I've just never had an interest to go to.
Well, my thing was, why is it only active when nobody's there? Like everybody talks about, at night when you go in and do the tour and you go downstairs. What about the other times that everybody's upstairs drinking and hooting and hollering?
It probably is active that they don't notice it because they're hooting and hollering. They can't.
True too.
And I'll tell you, the best place I had activity was we were by the hole, not talking about the hole because the hole is nothing. Okay, that hole is not squat. People want to believe it's a hole to hell, but it's not. It is just a hole. What's interesting is the holding cell that was there from when the mob was there. And I was talking to the spirits about the quality of their prostitutes. And this big red light went across my face like I was getting slapped.
Oh, wow.
Because I was questioning about the prostitutes. And it was hilarious. But the best story I ever saw on the area was about the area. It wasn't paranormal at all. It was the history of the area being like a little Las Vegas, and it tied it into the Las Vegas type activity that was here in Kansas City, and how they laundered the money from out here to Kansas City, out to Vegas, and back.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So that was what I found was interesting about the New Florence area in Wilder, Kentucky. So a lot of people don't think about the actual history of the area like that. But then, of course, it's an industrial area down there. So it's kind of, like I said, it's an interesting area. We did that in the Sedamsville Rectory in the same day.
I did Sedamsville.
You've done it 4 times?
5 times. I was there 5 times before it closed.
I've done it 4 then.
I really... I didn't have that much of a problem there. I didn't find any really good EVPs. I had a couple cool experiences, but nothing that I could validate with anybody.
What? Can we talk about that when we come back?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. So everybody, we're at our first break. You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama, and we will be back in just a few minutes.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
To the believer, the evidence is overwhelming. To the skeptic, there will never be enough. Hello everyone. Join Kevin and Jennifer Malik, the host of Paraversal Universe, every Friday here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. Also heard on WCET-FM and The Rift. Log on or tune in as they check out the mysteries found within the 8 categories of the unknown and unexplained, including ghosts and haunted places, aliens and UFOs, theology and mythology, cryptids and monsters, urban legends and folklore, conspiracies, metaphysics, and forbidden archaeology. Listen as Kevin and Jennifer interview the top minds in their respective fields as they share theories and information regarding these unsolved mysteries. For future show and archive information, one can find Paraversal Universe on Facebook, Twitter, and MeWe under various Paraversal Universe headings. So, for excellent talk radio about the unknown and unexplained, check out Paraversal Universe, where all paranormal perspectives apply. Brought to you by the Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society, Ltd., and produced by WBHM-DB.com.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour. Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride, and I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and my guests tonight are Jay and Teresa Lynch. And when we left off, we were talking about the Damsville Rectory. And Jay, what were you just saying about the rectory, about your experiences there?
I had some interesting experiences there. I did not collect any evidence. We went there. Like I said, first time I went with Rick. And me and him was alone in there for a couple hours and got in trouble for some reason, like always when the two of us were together. But
I'm shocked.
But it wasn't anything you did.
No, it wasn't anything we did. We got blamed for it, though. It took about 3 days and about 20 other people letting them know that it wasn't us before they finally apologized and we worked everything out.
Oh, okay.
It all got worked out in a positive way. So, but I spent, I don't know when I was with you that one time, I spent almost an hour and a half down in the basement alone. And there were some cool experiences and things like that. And I had some, but I just can't buy into that's another place I don't believe the legends about it. There's no way, if anybody's ever been in it, they had dog fights in the basement of that thing. It's nowhere near big enough.
It's not big enough, yeah.
Heck, you can't even go down the stairs unless you get down on your butt and go down on your butt because the steps are so steep.
Yeah.
And it was like,
and the ceiling's low.
And like I said, I'm not that tall, and I had to go down on my butt.
Yeah, I'm only 5'8", and I almost hit my head on the ceiling. So there's no way you put a horde of people down there betting on dogs, and had two vicious dogs fighting one another. It's no way it's possible it could happen. There's absolutely no way. And I spent that one night. I fell asleep in the attic because they're like, oh, you can't stay in the attic. Nobody stays in the attic more than 10 minutes. They come up, I don't know, I was up for about 45 minutes to an hour, and they come up and had to wake me up. I was like, I didn't have those experiences there that a lot of people claim, and I tried. I wanted to. Yeah. I think the biggest thing I had was it's in the basement, and you could hear the dogs barking, but you could hear them outside. So just missed that. But the kennel that was in there, it had been sitting there for like half an hour, not doing anything, and the door closed, and there was no wind. There's no open windows. There's nothing in that basement. And it was sitting 15 to 20 feet away from him. I'm like, well, that's kind of neat. I was impressed by that, but that was my biggest experience, to have that kennel door closed. But granted, only closed about 3 to 4 inches. It's not like it was standing wide open, and it's shut. So could have been something I didn't see bump into it, a mouse or something. I don't know. Could have been a lot of things. It could have been my imagination.
If there was a mouse, I would have known.
You weren't even down there with me.
The thing is you want to hear the best part about our activity there?
Absolutely.
Within 5 minutes of walking in the door, we were getting our stuff out, and all of a sudden we hear all this scratching and ruckus on the back porch. And we had seen where they were using cat litter boxes to feed the cats. Of course, I'd already made friends with a bunch of cats out front, waiting for the people to come and let us in. And of course, I get a call. They had to go to the ER because I forgot his name, but they had taken to the ER. He had had a heart attack or something. And so they gave us, they gave us the code to get in because they couldn't come and give us a tour. And of course, we were supposed to get another night for free because of all the stuff that happened. And so we get in the house, we get in there, and all of a sudden you hear all this noise. And I look outside and I go, oh, well, that's interesting. And Ron goes, what was it? I said, 2 raccoons. I said, one's name is apparently Hoover and the other one's Kirby. And he goes, what? I go, their vacuum cleaners are sucking up all the cat food.
Right.
So I named the raccoons Hoover and Kirby. And so the lady had told me, feed the cats before you leave. So because, she wanted us to feed them before we left the house because she was always feeding all the stray cats. So it's like, okay, I guess we got to feed the raccoons again before we leave. So we ended up feeding Hoover and Kirby again. But that's the thing I remember the most was, remember when Ghost Adventures was there, they heard a bunch of noise when they were in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. That's what they heard, was probably Hoover and Kirby fighting over cat food outside.
Yeah, we all had experience with the raccoons too, and actually, it was kind of cold when we went. They had some like styrofoam coolers set around with straw in them and things for the cats to go up inside and bed in. Mm-hmm. Except for all the cats were sitting outside because everyone I checked around the house and the church had either a possum or a raccoon inside of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cats were still sleeping outside. Yeah, the wild critters were all sleeping inside, having it nice.
Oh yeah, and there were bats in the attic when I was in there.
There might have been the first couple times I went. It was nice and hot out, so they should have been active. But like I said, I fell asleep up there the one time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have to say it was one of the cleanest locations I'd ever been. Didn't get even get a dust orb in any picture. That was one thing I had to say. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was dusty in the attic and it was a little dusty in the basement, but the areas, they were more than willing to sleep in the beds. We don't care, things like that. It was like, okay. But it was one of the nicest, cleanest places we ever went.
Absolutely. It was very nice going inside. And like you said, there wasn't a lot of dust. You didn't have all that interference like that. But you did have the outside interference with the cat, raccoons, things like that. But that's... And
the neighbors. I mean, the neighbors kept getting into fights when we were there.
We watched the guy. We were watching out back of the guy that was going from roof to roof.
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, I'm like, this is more entertaining just right at the moment. So I ended up spending some time watching him. We didn't know if he was trying to be a cat burglar or what, but it was actually kind of comical after a while.
Yeah, like I was telling you guys on the break, while we were waiting for our guides to come and let us in, there was a house next door. And you could see in the house, and the neighbors had told us, well, you should look in this house because it's really haunted. This lady died in there. And when we looked in there, you could see where they had died in the bed, and you could see the impression of where her body was on the mattress. They hadn't cleaned the house out, and I said, how long ago was this? Oh, it had been like 6 or 8 months before that this lady had died. But she was in there. Oh, it was a man. I guess it was a lady telling me the story. But this person had been in there for like 2 weeks passed before anybody knew that they were gone.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's sad.
So, and we went, let's see, when did we go? We went in September, didn't we? I think we went in September. So it was, like I said, it was a very unusual visit, but we didn't even stay, 3 or 4 hours. And we headed on back to Louisville or Corydon, Indiana. We didn't even stay all night. It was that quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was only a 40-minute ride from the house for us. And like I said, that one summer, I went like 5-6 times in one summer.
The summer right before it closed.
Yeah, and they tried to blame me for that one too. It's like, oh, yeah, you go there and they close the place. I'm like, I didn't do it. I'm innocent.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with that. I think that they were just done.
Do you remember the drag marks on the...
Yeah, well, I never saw them.
You didn't see them?
Nope.
We have been in the, like, if you come up the steps in the very first room on the left, the bigger room, they had the bed in it. We were doing a session, and we were sitting on the bed. And I just, like, had this, we had been in there already before. And I had this, like, creepy feeling that, you know, sometimes you just kind of, like, hate to have your foot hanging off the side of the bed. So I put my foot up, and I was like, all right, that was weird. We finished our session, and we left. And then when we came back up to do another session, there was literally right where I was sitting, because the floor was dusty.
Under the bed.
Yeah, right. But the floor was dusty under the bed, but you could see like where something had put its hand out and was dragging it back. And none of us did it because we were all together all at the same time.
We had some people that had some
that
great
was
experiences there, though. We was there with 765 Paranormal, and they would never go back to that. They said that was one of the places that they put on their bucket list to not go back to at their experiences there. And that was their second time there. And both times they'd been there, they'd had all kinds of weird things happen on the way there, while they were there and when they left. And I'm like, you guys, it's just coincidental. You guys are making it into more than what it is. Like, no, you just don't understand. I'm like, yeah, really.
Well, they're the same way with Ashmore.
Yeah.
They had cars break down, accidents.
Favorite place.
All kinds of stuff like was preventing them from going.
I would not imagine. I couldn't handle if I couldn't ever go to Ashmore again.
I know. I love Ashmore.
Now, see, that was the place that I went to just before the nodule in my lung was found. So I went there, and less than a month later, actually 3 weeks later, I have a fever I can't explain for 3 weeks. And then suddenly I have this nodule in my lung. And then the collapsed lung. And then surprise, you guys are going, oh my goodness, Denise isn't here at Ashmore Estates. And Rick's all upset.
Yeah. We're like, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah. Denise is in the hospital. And we didn't know what was going on. You know, we were actually packed up and ready to go when I turned around and said, we can't go.
Yeah,
so
that was rough.
It was. And I didn't know anything. And I mean, it took until December of last year to find out exactly what caused all of that. And so now I just have to watch mold wherever I go.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, as an investigator, everybody needs to watch mold wherever they go.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Just about it. We put ourselves in a lot of precarious situations that we really don't check or know more in advance about what we're getting into.
Yeah, because nobody's going to tell you.
No, most people don't even. Well, a lot of people don't even know they got themselves. No, they truly don't. And there's and it's like we had a residential we did one time, and it had mold spores and stuff in it. And one of the effects of the types of mold that they had, and it come to find out, was hallucinations and things like that. And we also had another house a residential that we did, that we went in and people were complaining about seeing things and hearing things. I mean, just the classic. You'd think it was for sure it was a classic haunting or
big time.
And end up the first thing I take out of my case every single time is a COT meter or carbon dioxide detector, and it wasn't on in no time, and it started going off. They was actually at high levels, and they was actually having CO2 poisoning.
Oh yeah.
So that is hallucinations and hearing things and seeing things and it's like nothing here's paranormal. You guys are about ready to die. You get to your furnaces. So a lot of people don't think of those things though, and how that's what I'm just saying. How we put ourselves in situations doing these things that not just with the people that we're dealing with, but the places that we're going.
We had, back years ago, we had this horrible snowstorm in October when we lived in Kansas City, Missouri, and all the leaves were still on the trees. And we ended up with power outage because you figure it's really wet, heavy snow. We probably got like 4 inches of snow and it brought down power lines. And we were without power for 7 days. The kids still had school and stuff, and I was checking on some of the people that I did daycare for. And I woke up one morning, and I was panicked. I didn't know what was wrong. I just knew something was wrong. I just didn't know who. And I started calling people. The first people I called were some people from Colombia, South America. Check on them, and they said, "Oh, we're up, but Jackie and Vanessa won't wake up. We're going to go wake them up." And I said, "Go wake them up, make sure everything's okay." And I called the next person. Then I called my mom and my sisters, making sure everybody was okay. And then I called the first people back, and I said, "You guys need to get out of the house. You probably have carbon monoxide poisoning." And they go, "Why do you say that?" I said, "How's your dad been cooking?" And they said, "He's been using the grill." I said, "In the house?" And they go, "Yes." And I said, "You don't do that." Because in Colombia, South America, they do.
Oh.
And so I called the fire department and had the fire department go over there. And the next thing you know, I'm getting phone calls in, Hispanic, calling. Only thing I can only understand a few words at the time, but apparently I had saved their lives. And to this day, that's how the mother introduces me to her family. This is the lady who saved our lives.
Aw.
And it's been over 20 years because my youngest is 20 years old. And so if it hadn't been for me waking up panicked about something I didn't know what, so I know what carbon monoxide poisoning looks like and smells like if there's a smell, but a lot of times there's no smell. That's what people don't know.
Yeah, most of the time with carbon monoxide, there is no smell.
Right. And most people don't have a carbon monoxide detector. Everybody should have one if they have a gas furnace.
I actually have one in a portable one in our equipment bag. That's part of my basic equipment is having that, because so many things that with the side effects that can be attributed to, people think that they're having a paranormal activity, and it's actually they're actually being poisoned.
Right. And, if they have an attached garage, that's one of the first things they should be checking.
So, but a lot of people don't think of that. And like I said, to me, it's just part of your basic equipment when you're going into the residential. It's one of the things you need to check, not only for the safety of the client, but for the safety of yourself and anybody on your team that's going in there with you.
Right. Another thing people don't think to check for is radon, but that takes a couple days. We live in an area where radon we're in a high level for that in our area. And that can cause illness, and it can also cause you'd think that you're having manifestations.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know about your area. I just know parts of Kansas and parts of Missouri, radon is huge.
So we don't have a problem with that, do we, Jay?
No, not around here. We got more with Monsanto and the Air Force Base. We have more thing with nuclear than anything else.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, radon occurs naturally.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But there's a map that will show you where the areas are highest.
And Tom, Ashmore is very clean nowadays compared to what it used to be from what I heard before Robin purchased it.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is a whole lot cleaner than it was. But downstairs in the area by the furnace, the men's area, I got it scratched down there. That's the only place that I felt like there was mold, in that work area and by the boiler room.
We had, the last time we were there when we filmed, we had some good activity in that area.
Yeah, you guys actually had a guy channeling and everything else. I wasn't involved with it at that time.
The cameraman.
Yeah, our cameraman actually started channeling, from what I understand. We were, Jason and I, with Paranormal Mysteries, we were upstairs, and we actually had, Terry Mosby was there, and she had her ghost helmet that was made by Katie Stafford. And, of course, me being me.
Like, I know both of them.
Yeah, they're wonderful people, all of them are. And me being me, though, and Jason, the way he is, we asked Terry, could we run some experiments with it? and Katie knew about it and things. We told them what we was going to do, but because I questioned everything. It's not that I'm saying that the helmet does or does not work. I have to find out things about it myself, like the SLS camera. When Jason got one from Digital Dowsing, we put it through the test.
Yeah.
We put it in areas where there were water to see if it could get reflections and to see what kind of. We found also noticed that with stick people, sometimes they would manifest with inside of square things or like a water heater.
Yes.
Yeah, but their arms won't stick outside of those confined things. You got a false positive. Yes, you have it not only there, but if you notice, it doesn't ever move with outside of the parameters of that box thing.
Right.
It can't be that, because if it was something else, it would move outside the parameters of whatever the shape it's inside of.
Right.
So we started really just pushing it. We do that with everything we get. We've got a couple ITC devices right now from different builders that we're pushing the limits on and seeing because I think that you should push your equipment to the farthest limit of your understanding. And then when you no longer understand, go back to the manufacturer and ask them questions to see if they can give you clarification on it, so you have a full understanding of what the limits of your equipment is and what your limits are also.
Right. And with some of those ITC devices, you need to know, does it require the internet when you're out and about, or only to update when you're at home? Does it triangulate based on your location? If it's on airplane mode, does it still use your location? Especially if it's one that's on an iPad or something like that. There's a lot of things you need to know about, especially if you don't write or read code. There's a lot of things. Is there words built in?
Yeah.
Full words built in. It does one word do certain words keep popping up? Like there was this one app it was called a portal. I don't know who made this one, because there's like 6 or 7 of them that are called portal. It kept saying, "This house is haunted." Kept saying that. And it's like, okay. And then when I went and I looked at the base code, it's built in there. It doesn't matter where you are. Every house is haunted.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm very, and I don't read code, so I have to really push limits of it, and also see if I can get the manufacturers or the designers to answer questions, and a lot of them won't.
Yeah, you need to look at the specs and have somebody who can read between the brackets.
But that's what I say. That's one thing I can say with KD Stafford and also Jay Prather. Any questions I've asked them, they've been very upfront and honest about it, and said, "Hey, here, I'll show you where this is from." There's certain things they won't, like their algorithms for how they have it scanned, all that things. That's their secret for the way they produce their equipment, and I respect that. You know
what? We're going to have to get into this after the break. So, because we're at the next break. Everybody, we're listening to Jay and Teresa Lynch on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting,
The best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 45 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and we're going to get back to talking about ITC devices and how Jay grills the people who build them. Okay, Jay.
I because I have, and me and Katie's had a very long discussion on this. I have a problem with them when they scan radio frequencies because not too many people are listening to what you're supposed to be listening to, in my opinion. They're saying the words that they hear coming through the radio, and they're not listening for what's actually supposed to be in the white noise, the back noise. When a lot of these things first started out, they didn't scan radio frequencies; they were actually just white noise generators, and there wasn't that much coming across them. Then somebody got the idea to start scanning radio frequencies, and of course, EVP started going through the roof. People started catching all kinds of them. They were getting 5 and 6 a night, and they were getting whole sentences and things, and that's great. But are you truly getting the interaction from the spirits, or actually are you still hearing the radio station when it's leaving this network and going to that one? So you're going to get that middle section to where you're going to have a crossover feed.
Right.
Especially if the stations are 90.1 and 90.3, and both of them are active stations, you're going to get a bleed over. You're going to. It's just
and
way
sometimes they're the same. They're the same station, just on a different, or the same people on a different station because it's networked. The other thing, like when you're talking about that always irritates me, they assume because the voice is male or female that the spirit that they're talking to is that sex.
Yes.
When it may be that's the only voice that they could pull out that had the word that they wanted to say. If that's how they're using it, by yanking out this word that this person is saying at this time, okay? If that's how it's working, okay? Because, there's different theories on how it works.
Absolutely.
So if a female is saying poop, is it actually a female spirit that's saying that, or could it be a male spirit that's saying that? And because it sounds like an adult versus a child, is it truly an adult?
There's different opens, that and me. Well, that's exactly where I'm at with it. I don't, and I hate how you can say somebody says, "Well, I heard tree, I heard bee, I heard knee." Everybody heard something different. It's so open to interpretation.
Voice pareidoia.
Yeah, well, and then
or audio pareidoia.
Here's where I get in trouble again. They had that little thing going out for a while. They started a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, to talk about the Estes technique. The Estes technique. Yes. We were taught that about 8.5 years ago by Callie Sherrill, who used to be with she was the resident paranormal for the Stanley Hotel 8.5 years ago. And she quit working there. And she taught us that a long time ago. So it's something that, to me, it's not new. We've been doing it for a long time.
Right.
And the one thing I do like about that is that you take away the possibility of other people trying to hear different things. You focus on one person and what they hear. But once again, what I've noticed is when they got turned up like that, they're repeating what I heard because they have it so loud. They're repeating what I heard the radio say, especially with doing live EVPs. I can say, "Oh no, that's not in the background. That radio said that." "Oh no, it's different." No, it's not different. You just have one person focusing on it. If people would listen with live EVP, where they could hear really well, they would notice that they're actually saying more of what the radio's saying and less of what the white noise is saying.
Right.
So when I was,
I believe I am really right there with you on all of this.
No, me and Katie got in a big discussion when we was at Ashmore for Ash Bash. We got a huge discussion about it because I said, "Well, why don't you just give me a something that I can use and listen to the white noise with it and scan the white noise? Because if you're just going to do white noise, you might as well just listen to one station." I was like, "Well, that kind of defeats the purpose. If that's the case, why don't you do that when you're using an ITC device? Why are you scanning different frequencies? Why don't you just listen to one station? Because now you're taking up all these different frequency levels that they may be communicating on. You're scanning different frequencies because you want the chance to actually make that connection on whatever level of frequency that they're on. Why can't I scan white noise on different frequency levels so that way I can find possibly on different frequency levels?" So you're taking away that ability to fluctuate the levels with white noise, but you're giving it to me when I'm listening to it on radio. Why can't you do it both ways?
Because I remember, let's go back a long time ago, when people used to do this on TV, using the white noise on TV and hearing stuff and seeing stuff.
Just the white noise.
Yep, just on the white noise. Didn't even have to change the channel, though.
That was actually some of Constantine Radiv's things. Is he used the snowy channel on the TV?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Some of his experiments. Oh yeah, I'm getting way back in Constantine Radiv. That's going to be...
I remember seeing stuff way back when, after the test pattern went off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they put the national anthem.
Anybody remember the test pattern?
Yeah, and the channels would go dead and they'd go nothing but snowy.
Yep. I always used to tease my mom. I said, "Look, it's the invasion of the killer bees."
It's just something that I get, and like I said, I love talking with KD, and Jay Prather's another one, builds some great ITC devices. And there's actually a lot of good people out there building some neat equipment. I just can't afford to test them all out like I'd love to.
Oh, yeah.
I like to get it, and I like to just push the limits on it as far as I can, and then go back to them and say, okay, where am I doing something wrong? That way I can learn how to use it, how they designed it. But it's like anything else with me. I don't care if it's my ATV. I see what the manufacturer says it can do. I see what the manual says it can do, and then I find out what I want it to do.
And then you flip it and end up in the ER.
Right.
5 or 6 times.
Yeah, I do say that I learned from his mistakes.
I don't.
That's good. Somebody needs to.
Right?
It took me 4 motorcycle wrecks to realize that maybe I shouldn't ride a motorcycle for a while.
See, I'm smarter than that.
I bet you don't ride on the back of a motorcycle when he's driving.
Oh, no.
I never would let her.
Oh, no.
No.
Well, then you're smarter than you thought you were, Jay.
Well, if I'm gonna do something stupid and get me hurt, I deserve it. I do something stupid and get somebody else hurt. I can't stand that. I hate that feeling. I don't want to hurt anybody else. I'm not about anybody else getting hurt in anything that I do. All the little things that I do with all these little stunts with the eating things like that. Everybody that does it with me has volunteered. Come on, you just no. I don't talk to anybody and do anything. You step up and you do it on your own accord. You're not blaming me for it.
Okay, Jay, I got you a new show name.
Stupid stuff with Jay.
No, here, hold my beer.
Oh,
right?
God. I'm not eating my beer. I'm drinking that. You can hold my empty can.
Well, see, whatever.
Not back to an empty beer. I learned
It's
that
more
lesson.
like, wait a minute, let me finish this first.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. Either way, it all works out.
Right?
So here's your question. Carl wants to know, what is you guys' view on the versions of EchoVox?
Actually, Teresa uses EchoVox a lot. I was kind of working with it, and I don't know all the other versions. I don't know which version we got right now.
I don't even know.
I haven't seen the recent update, so but
There's 3 versions, and then there's the more dark one.
we only had one that Teresa bought about 5 or 6 years ago. It's
Okay,
got the
then
triangle on it.
Okay, you guys got the second version then.
So, but it's something that she really started out fired up with. I kind of, with everything I have doubts with. I'm starting to not wonder if there isn't some things that are programmed into it, because it seems like we're getting the repetitiveness of words. The piece of equipment that the phone that we have it on does not have a SIM card, so it has absolutely no ability to connect its Wi-Fi unless it is, or can always connect to anything unless it is on Wi-Fi. But I always make sure I leave it on airplane mode because I don't want to have any connection whatsoever.
Yeah, it has nothing coming in.
No.
Okay, I'm going to give you a secret. Based on the code, because we have EchoVox, there are no words built into it. 0.
There you go, Jay.
Now, see, that changes everything with me because I've been kind of like, wow, this is just too, no.
We also have gotten through it Japanese and German, and there's no languages built into it other than snippets of English. That's it.
That changes everything in my perspective of it because I did not know that. I hadn't really talked to anybody about it because I've just started really questioning it here lately.
Yeah, because the guy who built it, he won't talk to anybody. So I had to go in and look at the code on my computer because I wanted to know, and I write and read code, so I had to go in and look. And to me, that's that's a big deal to me.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, and Charlie just spoke up and said, and he's also gotten Spanish through there.
Oh, wow. No.
That changes everything with me because that's going to change the whole look on some of our investigations that we've recently done because we've been using it. We've been using that and a ITC device that Jason got from Supernatural Inc., Katie Stafford. So there's two of them there that we've been really focusing on, but I've been kind of backing away from it. But I don't know how to read code. And now that you said that, and you do read code, I can barely read and write English. I won't read and write code.
I kind of had to go to school for it, but yeah.
No, I speak. They got to start writing it in Brailleese, and I'll be able to understand it.
Well, they do have. I mean, HTML is not hard to read. Java, on the other hand, make you pull your hair out.
I don't have much hair to pull out. That's not fair.
Well, you might need some tweezers.
Right.
But it sucks. That's so
when we were doing that investigation down in Cincinnati, and it was a really cool location. The story of it was kind of cool, where we got the German back through.
We did.
What device were we using?
We were actually using the old Hack Shack then.
Okay.
We were at a bar and restaurant in Deer Park area of Cincinnati, and the lady was talking about how the bar was haunted. She thought it was her dad, and she goes, we wasn't getting any responses really at all. And she said, you mind if I ask the question? Like, if you think it's your dad and it's your bar, go for it.
Yeah.
And she asked the question in German, and we actually got responses back in German. She was translating. We actually took it to someone else that spoke German and had him translate it to make sure she wasn't just pulling her leg, and she was dead on what she was saying. But it was amazing, and I was like, oh, that's just kind of weird. Yeah. You're using old Hack Shack, and that's all in Cincinnati. There's no German radio stations in Cincinnati, right. And you're getting German response back. I'm like, that was another time I was like, holy crap, what just happened?
Yeah, it's interesting, and that's one of the first things that I had to learn about these apps is to look at the code, because that gave me a lot of information about it. Like, I was watching TV one night and I saw, hey, this guy was using Ghost Radar, and he was talking about it, about how good it was. And I'm going, no, it's not. It triangulates your location based on stuff and pulls up stuff from Google based on your location. And no, I don't care how well known you are as an investigator. That's not going to cut it. That Ghost Radar is a joke app, and it says so in the thing. It's for entertainment purposes only. And
is that the one from Spud Pickle?
Yes.
Yes. And I'm like, I stopped watching that show. I couldn't watch any more of that episode of whatever it was. I couldn't watch it. And all I could do was laugh. And like I said, I don't care how now famous you are. I don't want to talk to you about it, because all I'm going to do is laugh.
Yeah.
When you bring up Ghost Radar. It's funny.
We were in
That's
New
probably
Orleans.
one of the ones we made fun of that one time.
Probably.
Because you know how and me and Rick was bad for it. Well, me and Jason are bad for it. We've always been bad for it, all of us. And me and Jason still do it quite a bit. We do our little spoof videos. And there was one time when Teresa was going to say we was in New Orleans, Jay and Marie Yates were there. That's when we first met them and stuff. Mm-hmm. And Scotty Rorick and myself and Teresa and Rick and Jason. And we all started investigating the event room using nothing but those Spud Pickle apps, and
ghost apps,
and a demon radar that tell me how many demons were in the room and how many of them was looking at me.
Oh, goodness. You know what? This demon's going to have to tell you that we have to go to break.
Oh, man.
Again, it's the top of the hour, so this is the time for everybody to go get a drink, get their cheese, whatever it is they need to do, take the dog out, and come back, because this is going to get even better, because more than likely Jay's going to go get a drink too. And so this is going to get good. So you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama, and we will be back in just a few minutes, and it's going to be good, so make sure you come back.
A reverse Universal. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The Trump administration changing its policy on Israeli settlements in the West Bank.
In a move that signals a significant shift in U.S. policy, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announcing that the U.S. no longer views Israel's settlements in the West Bank as inconsistent with international law.
The Trump administration is reversing the Obama administration's approach towards Israeli settlements.
Much of the international community, including the United Nations, considers all Israeli settlement activity to be illegal, and Palestinians cite it as a primary obstacle to peace. The Palestinian Authority has demanded the occupied land in the West Bank for a future state.
Fox's John Decker at the White House. Protests in Iran that began shortly after a 50% increase in gas prices have killed at least 5 people and renewed pressure on the government. The full scale of the protests not known because Tehran has shut down the internet. President Trump has offered to testify in the impeachment inquiry, tweeting over the weekend he's strongly considering it.
While the president did respond in writing to questions during the Mueller probe, today we learned that even those answers are facing renewed scrutiny, with the House now said to be investigating the veracity of the president's responses in the Russia investigation.
Fox's Kevin Corke, a State Department official who overheard a phone call between the president and diplomat Gordon Sondland over the summer, will testify publicly Thursday. David Holmes spoke with members of Congress behind closed doors last Friday. Life in prison without the possibility of parole for a Colorado rancher convicted earlier today of killing his fiancée and then burning her body while their baby daughter was in a nearby room. Prosecutors say Patrick Frazee killed Kelsey Barrett with a baseball bat. She was last seen on Thanksgiving Day last year. Her body has never been found. America is listening to Fox News.
If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. That's the problem growing businesses have because of a hodgepodge of business systems. One for accounting, another for sales, another for inventory. If that's you, you know it's a mess that takes up too much time and too many resources. And that hurts the bottom line. You need NetSuite by Oracle, the cloud-based business management software that gives you the visibility and control you need to grow. With NetSuite, you save time, money, and unneeded headaches by managing sales, finance and accounting, orders, and HR instantly from your desktop or phone. That's why NetSuite is the world's #1 cloud business system. Companies that use NetSuite grow 3 times faster than the S&P 500. And right now, NetSuite is offering you valuable insights with a free guide, 7 key strategies to grow your profits at netsuite.com/Fox. That's netsuite.com/Fox to download your free guide, 7 key strategies to grow your profits. netsuite.com/Fox.
Some people who signed up for the new Disney Plus service locked out of their accounts after they were hacked.
A ZNet investigation reveals thousands of Disney Plus customers have been hacked, with their account information being offered up on the dark web. 10 million people signing up for the streaming service within 24 hours, sparking technical problems and a stream of complaints. Within hours of joining, customers tweeting they were logged off devices, finding their login information was changed. Hacking forums reportedly flooded with stolen account information, with ads offering access for up to $11. Disney Plus does not have 2-factor authentication. A number of folks claim they've reached out for help without success. Disney Plus reps have yet to respond. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
A former Marine who was in prison in Iran on suspicion of spying, seeking payment from a fund intended for victims of state-sponsored terrorism. Amri Hekamadi was detained in 2011 and released in 2016 in a prisoner exchange. He claims he was falsely imprisoned and tortured. A Cleveland Browns star will look to have his punishment reduced after that in-game brawl last week.
Cleveland Browns head coach Freddie Kitchens telling reporters Monday he stands by defensive end Myles Garrett, but acknowledges Garrett's wrongdoing in striking Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph in the head with his own helmet during Thursday night's win.
Myles is a good person, and we're going to support Myles. Myles is part of our family.
This as Garrett is set to appeal his indefinite suspension during a hearing scheduled for Wednesday, seeking to have it reduced for at least the remainder of the season, as was already established by the NFL. Garrett is also going to have to meet with Commissioner Roger Goodell before being reinstated. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Reality TV star Kylie Jenner is selling a stake of her beauty business to Coty, the owner of makeup brand CoverGirl, in a deal that values Jenner's brand at about $1.2 billion. Coty says Jenner will still be the face of the brand and be involved in creating new products. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
This news report is brought to you by NetSuite by Oracle, the cloud-based business management software that gives you the visibility and control you need to grow. NetSuite is offering their free guide, 7 key strategies to grow your profits, at netsuite.com/Fox.
Welcome back to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 5 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and my guests tonight are Jay and Teresa Lynch. They have radio shows on ZTalk Radio. And what are those shows called?
Oh, wow. Sunday nights we have Paranormal Mysteries Podcast. Monday nights we have Sit, Chat, and Laugh with the Lynches, which we've been doing almost 7 years now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you do that crap? And then Tuesday nights, Teresa and Tina do the TNT show, which is all metaphysical things. And then, of course, the one that we don't really talk about a lot of times is Stirring the Pot on Tuesday nights. It's a adult comedy show.
Yeah, it's not really family
Very
friendly.
adult. Don't have your children present, please. I beg you.
Okay, and then, let's see, I was on one of your shows.
You were on Sit, Chat, and Laugh.
You were on Sit, Chat, and Laugh.
Yeah.
I was on another one that your host is out of the UK.
Oh, yeah. That was when I was doing Parasearch Radio with Kerry Greenaway. That was the Parasearch Radio show. We was doing it through Paramania Radio Network. Yeah, I was actually working with about 5 different online networks there for a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think it was like your second or third show on that.
Yeah, it's about 2 years ago.
Yeah, it seems time flies.
No,
but
That's
it's like I can't even remember half the shows I've been on. Somebody asked me how many shows have you been on. I said I couldn't tell you. I said I'm coming up on show 200 on my own, and I said I have no clue how many I've been on. And coming up here, I'm going to be on a paranormal forum for the next 3 months on Sunday nights, so that's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah,
they're going to give me topics, and I'm going to actually have to know something.
Wow.
I can't be just knowledgeable about the stuff I'm knowledgeable about already. I have to actually know something. So that's going to be interesting. So I'm glad I'm taking some time off work so I can learn something. So Teresa, while you're off work, are you going to learn anything?
How to drive me crazy, because I'll be off with work with her.
I have a feeling that she already knows how to do that.
Yeah, I do. Jay's actually taking the first month off with me to help me out.
So is that really going to help you out?
Oh, yeah, because our son wouldn't make her do her exercises and stuff.
Yeah.
Our son would be like, no, Mom, I'll get it for you, Mom, or I'll make her do her exercises. And I'll be
like, Jay, I need to get up. Can you get me another pop? And he'll look down at it. So I said, no, it's about time for you to get up and walk, and you need to move around so you can get up and get it yourself. I'll carry it back in for you, but you need to get up and fix it yourself.
Yeah.
That's what he'll do to me.
But there's no point in going through all this knee replacement stuff.
Right.
If you want to sit there and let it stiffen back up and be of no use anyway, become a club leg. If you're going to do it, then you need to keep doing things. And I'll push her to that level. But I push everybody with her abilities, and Tina with her abilities. The two of them work really well together with our Paranormal Mysteries. But they hate working with me sometimes because I'm always like, well, why do you feel that? Why do you say that? What made you say that? Why did you go that direction? I'm always why? But I try to get them to understand that, well, we're trying to do our episodes the way we're wanting to do it. We have to explain, because there's people at home that don't know. I don't have abilities. A rock's got more abilities than I do. Probably get more intelligence too, but we're not going to talk about it. But so I have to have you explain to me what you're feeling as a psychic, medium, sensitive, clairvoyant, clairaudient, whatever title you want to give yourself. I don't have those abilities, so I can't understand it unless you describe it to me. So I ask every little question that I possibly can think of, so that way I get a better understanding of the concept of what's going on and what you're experiencing.
You just like to push it.
Yeah, I like to push everything.
A lot of people are like that. They just like to push, but that's okay if it's helpful. So, in the case of your show, it is helpful, because if they don't know, the people watching don't know the abilities of the people in the show, they're gonna be asking those questions in their head if they're not asking them out loud.
Right.
Because I know I talk to the TV all the time. I work from home, so I talk to the TV a lot because I don't have any coworkers to talk to. So needless to say, Zach Baggins gets yelled at a lot during the day, and so do a lot of these other paranormal investigators. because, sometimes that's what I have on if I don't have on soaps. But that's my guilty pleasure. But, but again, that's the thing. If you're not asking those questions, Jay, somebody else is.
And if they don't get the answer to those questions, they're not going to be more apt to want to find out what's going on, and they're not learning anything. My whole premise is what we're doing is with Paranormal Mysteries, it's not a team. Paranormal Mysteries is actually a collaboration of Hindsight Paranormal, Teresa and I's team, Lake Erie Paranormal, Jason's team, PO3, which is Tina's team out of Canada, and then you got OPP with his Jeffrey out of Indianapolis, Indiana area. You got then JC was with us for a while. He was an independent out of Southern Kentucky. It's a collaboration. It's about working together. You hear people talk all the time about working together and sharing anything. We decided to put our money where we always talk about. We started to put our money where our mouth is, and we're doing this project. That's the whole premise of it, to show that people can come together, work together. When we do residentials, if Jason gets a call up there in Toledo area, when we up there to assist him. We don't go in as Lake Erie Paranormal and Hindsight Paranormal. We all go in as Lake Erie Paranormal. Tina's got a case in Canada. We go in as PO3. If we get the case, and that's how we do this. We're working it together, and we work with other teams, not just the ones that we're filming with, but other teams in the area also. We actually are putting our mouth, we're walking the walk and talking the talk. When we say that people need to network and work together, we're showing how to do it. We're doing it. We're putting it out there very publicly that we're doing it, because this whole rivalry crap is exactly what it. Boy, I almost said a bad word there. It's exactly what it is. It's a bunch of egotistical crap. It's like a bunch of little kids on a schoolyard. This is my swing set, and that's your swing set, or the old style professional wrestling circuit where this is our turf and that's your turf, and you don't come into my turf. And that's so idiotic and childish. And we make sure that when we do residentials, it's not about us. It's not about us getting evidence to put into some network or some show to get our 15 minutes. And I commend people that do that. We just don't do that. The evidence isn't ours. The evidence isn't ours. It's the client's. It's their case. If they want to turn it over and stuff, then that's up to them. But we will not ask them. We will not encourage them. We will not ask them either their permission for us to do it. That's totally and solely upon their decision to make once we reveal everything to them. We completely make everything about working together, networking together, and about the client or the location that we're working with. That's all it is. It's not about us. None of us at all.
No, it's not. And that's sometimes the part that's hard to get across to everyone, that it's not our evidence. I mean, if you notice, I don't really post a whole lot about places that we go and the things that we do until after I get back. Mostly because of the fact that I do have family that's sitting at home and I have stalkers out there. So needless to say, I don't want the family at home and the stalkers to know where I'm at until I get home. But the family knows where I'm at. I don't want the stalkers to know that the family's at home alone. And
stalkers are like, oh man, we missed that opportunity.
Oh, darn. Yeah. I mean, the thing is the stalkers aren't going to come to my house, but my daughter thinks that they will. Like, they can't seem to find their way to the someplace close by to where they live. How are they going to find out where I live? But that's a whole other story. But so I don't post anything till I get back. But mostly because of the fact that people don't need to. If I'm going to some place, somebody's residence, I don't need everybody to know that I'm going there, and I'm not going to share it because it's not my place to share.
Yeah, for residentials, we never disclose whatsoever.
I mean, if I go to the town, yeah, maybe I'll share, hey, I went to Cameron, Missouri. But I'm not going to say why I'm there unless I need help from somebody in particular. And I'm going to say, hey, I need help from somebody in this area. Recently, I made a post that I needed some help in Virginia Beach area.
Yeah.
And it's my family, but I didn't tell anybody what family it was, but I had family there that needed some help and I can't go. So I got them some help. And funny thing is, it was somebody in California, not in Virginia Beach.
Job done. I mean, seriously, that's the way I'm the same way as you are. We had a team reached out to us from Alabama area about a case in Cincinnati. And with Teresa going out for surgery, I told him flat out, I said, look, we can't. I mean, with her going out for surgery, she's going to be down for 4 or 5 weeks. I cannot give the time and stuff, the dedication that it needs. But we know this team, this team, this team, and this team. And I gave them the contact person there and say, you can contact one of those. And they're all very good people. They're all very good teams. I recommend them. Whichever one you pick, you'll be all right with. You'll be fine.
Yeah. See, in my case, I needed a spiritual warfare person, not a paranormal team.
See, that's out of my league. That's where we call. It's like lucky with the Paranormal Mysteries with LEP, with Lake Area Paranormal's got on their team. B.D. Morgan that works with us. He's Native American and is fluent in 3 different languages, and also a shaman. He knows a lot of the spiritual side of it and stuff. So that's one thing we also promote there is like everybody always talking about the stuff on TV about the whole D word, the demon stuff. They always ask me if you ever had a case like that. I'm like, absolutely not. We've not. Most we had was a grumpy old person. Mm-hmm. We never had anything benevolent. And what would you do if you ever got one? I said, call clergy. Well, if whatever faith that person is who lives in that home, because I can't deal with that. I'm a paranormal investigator. I am not a demonologist. I'm not clergy. I'm not a shaman. I'm not this. I'm not that. So I'm going to get the person that they need to help them with their situation.
Good answer.
It's not me. I know what my limits are. I know that if I'm truly in that home or that residential or that business that they've called us in because they have this situation going on, we're there to help them. Then I need to get what helps them. It's not, once again, it's not about me. It's not about Paranormal Mysteries. It's not about Hindsight Paranormal, LEP, Paranormal. It's about that case and what's best for that case. When we film, you'll never see anybody on our team with the title lead investigator. Mm-mm. We are all investigators, and if it's a situation where we need psychic medium or sensitives or things like that to work, Teresa and Tina take the lead. If it's something where Brian gets that seems like he's getting the contact, the information, or it seems like they're relating to his energy and wanting to talk with him, then he takes the lead. Whoever gets that contact and whoever that spirit is making the connection with is the person who will lead that investigation. It's not about any individual having I'm the founder or co-founder. We don't give a crap about that. It's about that facility. It's about that case, that client, or that spirit, and telling their story and their only. It's not about us. That's just the whole way we push everything we do.
I like that answer. I truly do.
It's the only one I Sorry.
Well, it's just I watch TV and I'm watching, like recently been watching the new Ghost Hunters, and I'm kind of a little, the 2 lead investigators investigate with themselves and the other investigators investigate with themselves. Why not mix it up and put a lead investigator with an investigator?
Right.
Are the lead investigators too good to investigate with these other people? Do they not wear deodorant or something? I don't know. What's the problem?
I said the same thing. They're not showing the whole potential of that team because they're not mixing it up.
Well, there's some problem. Well, I don't like the show. So I think Brandon and Mustafa do a very good job. I really like them. I like Grant. The rest could be replaced with anybody. There's very little personality on that team. That's my opinion. Not the opinion of WBHM Digital Broadcasting, but that's my opinion.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. They're not giving it. There's so much there to potential with the combinations that could be mixing up, and they're not allowing those personalities to develop because they're sticking the same 2 people together all the time.
Right.
And they're not that.
I'm not seeing any personality.
Yeah, they're not allowing that whole team concept to develop. It's like you said. It's these 2, and it's these 2, and it's these 2. I've known Brian Murray for several years now, and because of him getting on there, and Katie Stafford, and Jeremy, and them getting the Ghost of Morgan City, and I didn't know Sarah that well until then, but we met her a couple of times since then. That's the only reason I had cable. I haven't had cable in probably 6-7 years, if not longer. But because I knew people that were actually going to be on the show personally, I got cable so I could support them, so I could watch what they're doing and know what they're talking about, know what's going on. So that way when I hear people talk about, like, well, you see him do this. Well, yeah, I saw him do that. I didn't want to just have hearsay. And like I said, the only thing I can say is I agree with you, but I think that the network's not allowing it to develop like it should. I know
right now that they're filming season 2.
Yeah.
But we are at our next break, and we will probably talk about this a little bit off air, but I have strong opinions that I won't share out loud. But everyone, you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We will be back in a couple minutes, and I hope you will be too.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Several U.S. presidents are on record talking about the UFO mystery.
Yeah, Presidents Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan both had UFO sightings of their own, but the current presidential campaign might be the first in which UFO disclosure has been championed by a major party candidate.
DIA, CIA, it moves around, is operating a program to train psychic spies to spy and use their powers against Russia. John Ronson writes about this in The Men Who Stare at Goats.
The first known sighting of a ghost took place right after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in the late 1860s during the administration of Ulysses Grant.
Project Paperclip, Clinton releases it all in 1998.
Possibly the unequal cooling of its surface.
I say, do you still think it's a meteor, Professor?
I don't know what to think. The metal casing is definitely extraterrestrial.
It's a place where UFO hunters and scientists gather to examine paranormal activity in the region.
Some of the documents, this is bringing Nazi scientists into the United States to work here. So we fought against the Nazis, and it's not, this again is not a revelation. As early as 1947, 1946, we knew some of this, right?
On the paranormal, will we see U.S. President Barack Obama's foreign policy go intergalactic in a quest for gold stolen by aliens? We'll tell you at least how the White House responded to claims the chief executive has been teleporting to Mars. But let's get to today's Capitol account.
UFOs, hauntings, psychic abilities, conspiracy, ESP, cryptozoology. There are many things that remain unexplained in the inexplicable world around us, and we're talking about them here, looking for answers on WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama. The truth is out there.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and my guests tonight are Jay and Teresa Lynch. And we are having a really good time, and I hope you are too. And if you have any questions for them, please put them in the chat so that I can ask them. So we've got a couple more. We have one more break, and then the show's over. So you've got just a little bit of time to ask them some questions. So
ask me anything. I'll answer anything. I will. I got an opinion on everything.
This is true.
Oh, I know you do. That's why you have that other show. That with the disclaimer, don't let your kids listen. It's rated R.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe not R, but it's a hard PG-17. NC-17. I can't figure it out.
17R?
Yeah.
So how did you guys get involved in the paranormal?
It's Teresa's fault. She's always been into it. She really has. She's always had abilities. She just denied them for a long time. She really did. She was always wanted to go, and I found a local place here that had Post Town that had an open investigation one night. I thought it'd be cool to take her and my niece for her birthday because she was into it also.
She was into ghost adventures and wanted to go on an investigation.
So I found a location that was having an open investigation. I took them. We sat there and investigated. I went very open-minded for a change because I used to not be at all. And we sit on the front steps talking with the guy, Joe Kudo and Brian Hensley, that was running the open investigation that night there, and talked about 7:30 in the morning. And Brian got me when he looked at me and said, okay, so obviously, because we have to talk about going fishing and hunting and stuff. He goes, so you go fishing, right? I said, yeah. He goes, oh. So you go fishing, and all day long you don't catch a fish. I was like, it happens. He goes, so now they don't exist? And that simple of a statement just blew me open. And how many things have I been so close-minded to that I overlooked or dismissed because of my own arrogance? And it flipped the switch, and I've delved into it extremely deeply from there. I've just become passionate about, and it's the whole learning phase of it, the whole concept of how many different directions it could possibly be and what it could be and all the theories and ideas. I have an unquenchable thirst for knowledge about it now. I want to understand. I want to know. I'll never figure it all out, but I want to know anyway. It's her fault.
Well, it's true. I mean, how many times do we not see what we know is there? Yeah.
Your mind, and to me, it was something that my mind couldn't conceive or didn't want to conceive or even have an inkling, a desire to understand. So I just dismissed it. Well, that was above my pay grade. I'm not meant to understand it. If they come to me, right. Our son was only about 3 before we ever got involved with the paranormal. Because he's 20 now, but he came walking out one time, and and the house we bought was my grandmother's. And his room was my grandmother's room. And she had passed away in the house, in the bathroom, but had passed away in the house. And he comes out of his bedroom giggling. And he's just like, he was belly laughing. And I'm like, what's so funny? But he goes, great grandma, funny. Now, he's 3 years old. He was born in April of 99. She passed away in August of 99. He never met her, never saw her, has no memory of her. And Teresa's like, you believe there's something going on now? I'm like, no, because if my grandmother wanted me to know that she was here, she'd come slap me in the head for being stupid. She's not me, so it's none of my business. I immediately just dismissed it. Apparently, if she is here and she wanted me to know about it, she'd come see me, but she didn't, so it's none of my business, and I just dismissed it and moved on. That's exactly how I used to be, is that dismissive on things. Once Brian put it in that context and that simplicity of a way, I thought that how arrogant that was of myself, how arrogant, narrow-sighted, short-minded, and just pig-headed stubborn to just be that dismissive about life, and how many wonderful opportunities and wonderful things I could have experienced all this time just because I wanted to be closed-minded. And I couldn't take that anymore. So once we started doing the paranormal, it just opened up all the possibilities. And then people started bringing in theories of quantum physics and all this other things. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, whoa. Because that now stimulated a portion of my brain that I hadn't used since I dropped out of college. Because I work at a paper mill. I don't need to use college facts when you work at a paper mill. You just 1 + 1 is 2, and the wheel goes round and round. Big deal. So it's reignited just a passion just to learn and understand it, and all the concepts and ideas big time. Excuse me.
So did both of you know that you were interested in the paranormal before you got married?
Oh, no.
She didn't say anything about it for years.
Yeah, I didn't say, because I would see things as a kid.
And as an adult, you saw the snowy man.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw things as a child. I saw things as an adult. And
I just thought she was crazy.
I never said anything to him.
I figured marrying me was proof of that.
Well, that's true. So after we got married, he would make fun of me because I would never watch a scary movie.
Me either.
I can't handle them. Going to a haunted house.
Jump scares, can't stand it.
You can forget it because
I don't like it either.
I'll pee down both legs.
And
I can't
will
handle
laugh
that.
And laugh.
I got scared at Post Town. We were investigating, and we had lived there for 5 years. We lived in the building, did investigations weekly. And we walked out of one room, and I was the last one out. Pitch black, didn't even think a thing about it. And this sound came from behind me, like, you know how you would ride a bike as a kid and you would slide back tire on gravel and it would make that weird sound?
Mm-hmm.
That's what came over my back shoulder. It scared the Jesus out of me. And Rick would happen to be in front of me. So he turned around because he heard it too. I was reaching for him. Now, in my mind, I was going to grab him and pull him behind me and get in front of him. I was going to sacrifice him. Whatever was acting
Why not?
Rick saw me, and my eyes were huge because I was scared to death, and he took off flying, left me there. By the time I got to the end of the hall, Jay's on the floor laughing. Rick's panting because we're all scared. The 3 new girls that were with us, we don't know where they ended up at the time.
I was laughing too. If there was something there that was evil and demonic and was going to kill somebody, I was a dead man because I fell to the floor laughing.
I told Jay, I said, we have to go because he was why I said, because I have to go change clothes.
She had actually potted all over herself.
I stood there and I was like, I don't know whether to laugh, cry, so I peed. I didn't know what to do.
Poor thing.
And I've never been like that.
And you had to do it in front of people that were going to make fun of you for it.
Of course.
Yeah, but you notice that she's telling this story on air and not me.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
I made her tell it herself. I didn't tell her.
You made her tell it herself.
Yeah, I did. Well,
Are you holding a gun to her head?
No, yeah, I'm not.
And you didn't make her tell it. She decided to tell it because she figured.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah. Well, she's like me.
Because she knows I would embellish it a little bit, make it sound more dramatic than what it was about her peeing on herself. But, she's going to make it sound more conservative and like it religiously happened. But I'm going to make it sound like there was more drama to it. And just because I would make her look embarrassed and holler at me later.
So how long were you guys married before you realized
24 years?
Before you realized you both had an interest in the paranormal?
24 years. Because we've been married 32 years coming up this year. So we've only been there for about 8 years. 8.5 years now,
so do you hear that, Ron? They're pretty much in the same boat as you. I was pretty much the same way. I didn't tell Ron for years, and we even lived in a haunted house. So
yeah,
and we've been investigating pretty much since 2009, and I didn't say anything for probably we lived in our other house. I don't know. When did we buy the Nissan, Ron? Whenever. Some time back there when we found out, I kept telling him that this kid kept coming in our room saying Mom, and I'd say, what? And he'd go away. And he goes, well, how old is he? I say, about 12 years. We've been married 12 years. So, and I said, he's about 15, 16 years old. And I never said anything to our girls, and our daughters told him this pretty much the same thing, that some boy was in our house. And because, I knew never to make a big deal out of it because I was told to keep my mouth shut when I was a kid. You don't tell people that you see stuff because if you do, they'll make fun of you. Or they'll lock you up. You're crazy. And so we went to buy this car, and I put our address down on the paper, and the guy goes, oh, I know your house. Your house is the suicide house. Like, wait. Yeah, that was kind of, well, and the thing is, it was like, oh, okay, well, that explains a lot. I think he expected more of a, what in the heck are you talking about kind of answer, but no, I just said, well, that explains a lot. And my husband's like, oh, okay. And then we got home, made more sense. But eventually, the spirit left. We had bullet holes in our wall. Pellets from a shotgun.
Oh wow!
We didn't know what they were until we found out about that, and I kept filling them in for years. With spackle, and I'd paint, and eventually the spackle would cave in all the time. Okay, and eventually, after I heard about this, the next time I heard the boy, I told him, I said, go to your mother. She loves you. Go to her. I said, she's waiting for you. And I knew his mother. She wouldn't come in our house. And then that's when we found out about all this. We knew why then. I said, go to your mother. And I guess he went to his mother because the next time I filled in the holes, they stayed.
Aww.
Oh, wow.
So, but we had lived there 10 years before I found out that somebody had committed suicide there.
Wow. I couldn't imagine.
So, and he was only 16 years old.
That's such a topic with us right now because our friend JC, Jim Lanford, that was working with us and stuff, and we still tag him and everything. He passed away back in September. He committed suicide, and that's why we're doing the April 16th, 17th, and 18th out of the national. We're doing the suicide awareness event.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's got a lot of paranormal people coming out to it, but it's not paranormal. We actually have a lot of counselors coming out that's volunteered, and all kinds of people volunteered to come out with suicide. And we've actually got to back into the one suicide awareness system that they're actually going ahead sponsoring it and allowing us to use their logo and things because it's happened enough. And we just felt that it was time to do something. Rob and Terry was friends with JC also and hit us up and said, hey, man, we need to do something. And, of course, Paranormal Mysteries crew all said, absolutely, let's do it.
Yeah.
Then me and Tina and Jason and Teresa and Robin started immediately working on it. And it went from being just a one-day event to now where it's going to be a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay, and that is August 17th through 19th? Or April 17th through 19th?
Yeah, I'm looking at the calendar now to make sure I say it right. There's already got 17th, 18th, and 19th is the suicide prevention event out at Ashmore Estates. We actually got George and Kara Shoplin's already got their table purchase and stuff. She's going to come out and sell some things. I already saw them.
She makes wonderful dowsing rods because she sent me a pair.
Yeah, they're going to be there. So I'm excited to meet them in person.
We finally get to meet them.
That's going to be phenomenal.
Oh, well, we'll have to put that on our list of stuff. But I think that's during the same time as another event that I think that we might be going to. I don't remember. When that is. Because there's a paranormal, or not a paranormal, a UFO event in Eureka Springs that Kat goes to that if she goes to it, we'll drive down to see her. So,
right.
Yeah.
But because if you even get close, if you even get close to us, we make sure that we go and see you.
We'll just have to book a way to get close to you just so we can come meet you.
We've been talking about going to Mineral Springs.
Yeah, we're talking about going to Mineral Springs next year.
Well, if you guys go to Mineral Springs, just let us know because it's one of those places that's not expensive to book.
Yeah, we're talking about going there and a couple other places out your guys' way to film a couple episodes. I think Jason's even been talking with Valixa Axe Murder House.
Valiska Axe Murder House?
Yeah, Johnny.
Yeah. Well, you might want to talk to Martha.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know who he's talking to, so I just know he said he's talking to somebody with it and stuff about getting it out there. And Mama Angel, she's a good friend of ours. She just put the link up in the chat room for the event. It's got all the dates and information there. It's got actually Christopher and Rachel Booth is going to be there. And Philip Booth's coming out. And Dustin Perry, he was the first one to get on board with it.
Yeah, he was the first one to jump on board.
Yes, because he's had experience with some people who have committed suicide.
Yeah, Tim Miley, he's coming out. Tim Woolworth.
I love Tim, and I'm sorry to hear about the loss of Murray.
I know.
And so, like I said, you've got a lot of good people coming to that event, and we were talking about coming out there in April. In fact, our friends were talking about booking it in April, so we know when not to book it.
Yeah,
at this point.
17th to the 19th.
And so that sounds like a really good cause, and I'm really happy that you guys are doing an awareness event. I think that that's really important.
It's something we just felt that it's touched everybody
at some point or
yes,
another.
In some way, it's touched everybody one way or another. Either you know somebody, or you know somebody who has had to deal with the after effects of it and things. It's or somebody that's come close to doing it. I've really talked with a lot of people. We've actually discussed it on our Tuesday night show. I know sometimes we do a lot of comedy on there, but we do sometimes hit some very serious topics. Mm-hmm. Suicide was one of them, and one night we talked about after the shooting in Dayton and in El Paso.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about gun control and things like that because my son was actually at his school. There was a school shooting back when he was still going to school. And he was in the room that it all happened in. Luckily, he didn't get hurt or anything like that. But
that's the most terrifying phone call.
Yeah, we do a lot of comedy with it, but we also take on some very, very serious topics and stuff, and we talk them very openly, discuss them. But when we get talking about this, and it's just like I've had several family members, friends, and now JC, like a brother to me. I call him my brother, and it's just enough's enough.
Right.
It's something that needs to be discussed more. And there's going to be, some people doing gallery readings there. Jessica Potter, Brian Danhauser, Andrea Humphrey, and Rebecca Foster. They're all going to do gallery readings and stuff, maybe help people make contact with people who's passed on. However they do it, I don't know. I don't understand that whole thing. Like
Is Scotty coming?
Scotty Rourke's coming in. So,
and then you've got our good friend Coyote Chris.
Yes, Christopher Sutton's going to be there. So, I mean,
we've known Chris. I'm going to tell you guys, we've known Chris longer than anybody else on your panel.
He's a wonderful guy. I'm getting really, just within the last couple of years, I've really gotten to talk with him and get to know him. And he's phenomenal. There's not a person on this panel that's not, they're all coming in for the right reasons. They're coming in because they want to help and make a difference. And it keeps growing. And it's something that's been going on in our field. Even with the murder-suicide that happens and stuff that we all know that affected us in the community big time. And everybody wants to kind of tiptoe around it. But if we can't. We can't tiptoe through it. We need to stomp right into the middle of it and make people understand that it hurts everyone when someone takes their life. Ron's lost 2 cousins to it. I had an uncle that lost his life to that. We have friends who are on medication to keep themselves from committing suicide. And then, you've got just the 22 a day in the military, and my husband was in the military, and we've got a lot of good friends that were in the military that we're watching that suffer from PTSD, and they're more likely to be one of the ones that might take their lives. So awareness is the only route we can take at this point, and let them know, hey, we care about you. We're absolutely here, and that's what I'm saying. It's time to take it head on.
We're not just saying it. We really truly are here.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's the same. We're doing the same. Paranormal Mysteries is taking the same approach to this as what we do with the way we're doing our project. We're taking it head on, and we're not going to just talk the talk. We're going to put ourselves out there, and we're going to walk that walk. And if we have to walk it beside them, holding their hands, if that's what we need to do to help people, then that's what we're going to do. We all are a part of this, and it has to come from the heart, and it has to be done from the heart to the heart. It's not about names. It's not about money. It's not about anything else. It's about letting people know that there's somebody there, that you are not ever alone. You don't have to be alone if you don't want to be. You're not. It's that simple. You're really not. And to get through to let them know that there is somebody there that does care, then whatever we got to do to help do that is what we're going to do.
I am so proud right now to call you guys my friends.
We feel the same way.
I think that is a wonderful way to raise awareness, and hopefully it will get out and about. And like I said, I will make sure that event gets shared. I will make sure that people know about it. And it's important that people know about that. But we're at our next break. You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama, and we will be back with the last segment. So if you guys have any questions, this is it. Get those questions out there, and I'll get them asked. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama. To the believer, the evidence is overwhelming. To the skeptic, there will never be enough. Hello everyone. Join Kevin and Jennifer Malik, the host of Paraversal Universe, every Friday here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. Also heard on WCET FM and The Rift. Log on or tune in as they check out the mysteries found within the 8 categories of the unknown and unexplained, including ghosts and haunted places, aliens and UFOs, theology and mythology, cryptids and monsters, urban legends and folklore, conspiracies, metaphysics, and forbidden archaeology. Listen as Kevin and Jennifer interview the top minds in their respective fields as they share theories and information regarding these unsolved mysteries. For future show and archive information, one can find Paraversal Universe on Facebook, Twitter, and MeWe under various Paraversal Universe headings. So, for excellent talk radio about the unknown and unexplained, check out Paraversal Universe, where all paranormal perspectives apply. Brought to you by the Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society, Ltd., and produced by WBHM-DB.com.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 45 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I am your host, Denise Pridemore, and we were talking to Jay and Teresa Lynch. They're still here, actually. And I know it sounds like I let them go, but I didn't. I'm keeping them here. In fact, I might not let them go. So before we get too far into this, if people needed to find you guys, how would they find you?
Facebook's the best way.
Absolutely.
Or paranormalmysterieshome.com. That's what we do. All of our web pages go through that. We do everything with all of our web pages and with that project there. Our individual Facebook accounts, we each have a personal one. We don't have a team one. We don't. Because we're terrible about it. We had one. While. We had one for each of our podcasts, and we're terrible about actually interacting with them. And so I combined them all into my personal page because I'm more active there and more apt to find me there. So
yeah, by the time you have so many pages, it just gets hard to keep track of all of them. I understand. So
I'm like, let's just do it on my own personal page. And Teresa don't post that much anyway. It's always me running my mouth. I'm good at that.
Imagine.
Well, most of the time, I mean, what I see from Teresa is her complaining that somebody isn't listening to her at home.
Right.
Or that, hey, I'm sick again and I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And or that, hey, we're traveling again and us ladies are in this car and look at those dumb guys up there doing this stuff.
Right.
Well, but we have fun with that because that one time we got to go live and we had and we shared where you can invite each other in on your phones, and I got both the cars, the one with the guys in it and one with all the girls in it to do.
This was in Tennessee, right?
Yes, we were doing the cars
because we were in Tennessee too.
We were cruising down the highway with each vehicle making fun of the other one, doing the Baby Shark song and dance while we're driving down the road.
Yeah.
Yep. And I remember that because, like I said, we were leaving Gatlinburg and you guys were going to Hales.
Yep. Yes. You got to have fun. And that's something that I call it the Monsters, Inc. theory. Everything on TV is about the dark, dark, dark. Not anymore. It's starting to get a few shows getting away from that. But I firmly believe that the majority of people on this planet are good now. 95% of the population is good, always has been. Just hardworking, good people. And like on that movie Monsters, Inc., they found they got more energy and more interact stuff from when they had the laughs. So I've always believed that people will be more interactive and more approachable if they find you to not be non-threatening and non-confrontational. Mm-hmm. So we use that and our natural personalities that way. Me and Jason have a lot of fun with it, and we'll do some little silly little skits and stuff, and always have. And then it seems like we get a lot of good responses that way because the energy is very up and very upbeat. And I just can't see going in there and saying, "Oh, everything in here is evil and demonic." Well, if it's true that you're gonna be the same way in the afterlife as what you are in this life, then the majority of people are good. Why is all of a sudden all of them bad on TV?
Yeah, you can change the energy of a location.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you can, and a lot of it is just with your thoughts or your words.
Yep.
Yes.
And you're putting into it. We have fun, especially when we're setting up because, as Teresa said earlier, she hates jump scares. And
I do. I can't handle it.
I'm a jerk. I think it's funny.
So there's going to be an event at Ashmore Estates next year in 2021 because Teresa's going to need money to take care of the beating that she gives you.
Right.
Well, we got Aflac for that. I go to the hospital, she gets paid.
Yeah, I just make sure it's paid up.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Well, she gets mad at me when we investigate anywhere, and it's not because I'm trying to be a tough guy or anything like that. Anywhere we go,
takes me off.
Anywhere we go, everywhere we go, I do the same thing. I tell the spirits all the time that they can, if they need to use me to make communication, that's all for. But if they need to feel that they can push me, hit me, kick me, scratch me, channel through me, possess me, if they need to make that communication and contact. It's not happened yet, thank God, I guess. But I always offer that.
Now, Denise, let me tell you something. I break out in hives every time he does this. Because I'm thinking there's one of these times that he's going to bring something home with us. And it's going to be him. And I'm going to have a hell of a time clearing it.
If it can handle the other 13 personalities stuck in his head, it's welcome to join in.
So you're thinking it's not going to be a cheeseburger that he's going to bring home. It's going to be something cheesy that you're going to need to get this sage out.
Right.
What if it's actually a nice spirit and it's got a nice personality and it kicks out all the stupidity out of it? I mean, you actually have it made for the rest of your life. You always look at the negative. Look at the positive.
But again, she's gotten used to you the way you are, and she might not like that.
No,
she'd be bored and leave
me.
He
gets quiet, and I'm saying, "Are you okay? What's wrong? Is everything all right?"
I'm usually working on about 50 different projects at one time.
And I'll say, "Yeah, I'm just, my mind's just going, all right, if you're sure you're okay, you're awful quiet."
I love having ADHD. I really do. I could not imagine slowing down and not having all these things going at one time. Working on 4 or 5 different projects at once in my head. And sometimes more than that. She's like, I don't see how you keep all of it straight. I'm like, because I'm crazy. And it works for me.
Well, it has to. I mean, you've made it this far. So it must be what it's meant to be. 32 years together. It's, Ron and I have been together 36, married 35. So it's the way it's meant to be.
Absolutely. If she
we
ever
were
woke
at a
up,
friend's house earlier
time?
When we were up at Jason's, and we met
at a friend's house.
His wife.
Jason, you're my brother. Tanya, you're my sister. You're not just my friend.
Oh, shut up.
If you're listening, Teresa just said you were friends. That's not me.
Shut up. We were at their house, and we met Tanya's mom and her best friend. And her best friend kept Jay's just rattling on and on and on and talking and just being Jay.
She asked me a question, I answered.
And she looked at him, and it was so funny with the most confused look on her face. And she said, "I'm old. You're going to have to slow down. I cannot hear you that fast." And Jay looked at me. He's like, "Do I really talk that fast?" I said, "Yes, honey." I said, after 32 years, I had to learn to listen fast.
I will tell you the same thing to everybody else. I don't talk fast. You all just listen slow.
Right? That's what he says.
Okay. The other side of that story is that I talk too fast, and I had to learn how to slow down because my husband was from the Midwest, and he couldn't understand me, so I learned to slow down.
We're from the Midwest, too, and I'm like, everybody's like, "Are you from New York or something?" Like, no, my family's from the hills of Kentucky.
Yeah, see, my family, well, I grew up in Baltimore.
Oh, wow.
Lived in New Jersey, lived in Virginia and West Virginia, so there you go, I'm all screwed up. But my husband's from St. Louis, and in St. Louis, everything, including traffic, is slow. And it's also the show me state, so you have to talk slow.
I've never been there. I want to go. We're going to go to St. Louis next year.
So,
on our way to-
but for me,
yep.
I talked that fast and said words that he didn't get. So I learned how to talk a lot slower. I don't think we'd have been married this long if I still talked the same. But there are still words that I say that he makes fun of.
Oh, I get that. But as you saw by my one post the other day, I get made fun of by talk to text that can't understand fast talking Briar.
Yeah, it can't handle it. Shorts out.
It can't handle mine either. There's still stuff I say it can't get. But I mean, I now have this. I sound like I'm from the Midwest now. Yeah, you can't tell where I'm from now.
No, you can't.
So, but that's all good. I did have a question for you, Teresa, because when I read your profile, I was like, okay, I got all this stuff. I understand all this stuff. Tell me about this fire pulling.
Fire pulling, and I did not know what it was. I just did it naturally. When somebody is in pain, I automatically know what to do. And what it is that it's almost an Appalachian type of laying of the hands, where I can, if you told me that my left knee hurts, I could say, okay, and I'll put my hand right above your knee, and I feel my hand fill up with pain, and I pull it out. And then when I'm finished, I push white light and good intent in to fill the holes. And I've never had anybody say that they didn't feel any better.
Well, it's a style of it's Reiki, but it's not Reiki. Reiki's more it's a style of energy healing. Mm-hmm. It's just more indigenous to the Appalachian areas and the people that came over from the Celtic descent. It's along the lines of what they did in Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and other Eastern European areas. And when they settled into the United States, they started calling it fire pulling because it's, I guess, it's along the lines of what some of the Native Americans did with their shamanistic healing and things. So it's a blend of those different styles of just energy healing that's out of European with Native American blend.
I didn't know what it was called, and I sat down to get a reading 2 years ago at Ashmore from somebody that I did not know. Did not know me. I didn't know them.
We're good friends now.
Yeah, we're good friends now because she was just amazing. But she told me, she said, well, you know, when you do that, the fire pulling, and she's just talking like I knew what she was talking about. And I told her, I said, I have no idea what you're talking about, Dawn. And she's like, well, you know, when you do the fire pulling, and she's like taking her hand and doing. I said, I'm sorry, again, I don't know what you're talking about. And she goes, you know, when you do that thing where you hold your hand over somebody, I mean, she like broke it down for me, and I was like, oh, yeah, but I just call it energy pulling. She goes, no, that's actually called fire pulling. And you cannot find hardly anything in like, if you put it into, if you Google it or whatever, there's very few things on it. But all of it is Appalachian. And it's funny because that's where my dad's family is from. And his side of the family is also where I get my abilities. So it's like all of it goes that direction. And the further south we get, even the more comfortable I feel. It's weird. It's odd to say, but and Tina said when we were driving down to Tennessee, I'm driving and we're just going to town. She said she could even tell the difference in how I was acting, because like the further south we got, and then when we got into Tennessee, she said you were just like completely relaxed, and I felt more at home, and you could tell.
That's how I am when I'm in Tennessee. Well, as I get closer to the beach, the more relaxed I get.
See, I'm with the mountains and the woods. Mm-hmm. Both times we visited the ocean, I'm like, oh yay, it's big, it's dirty, and it tastes like crap.
Yeah,
I'm out.
See, I love the ocean.
Yeah. I'd rather have a quiet little stream or little waterfalls. I'm good with that. You can have the ocean.
Well, we're looking at houses near the ocean and as well as near the mountains.
Yeah.
So we're looking for retirement.
Right. Jay, what was that location you were at? Bethune,
South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of nice. It was like an hour and a half away from the beach and only like an hour from the mountains.
It was like in between.
And I'm like, yeah, I can stay here.
Okay. Who's Bodine?
Bodine the Bigfoot. He's one of the people that we've met on some of our cryptid adventures. Mm-hmm. He's a ham. He's a handful.
He's a handful.
He's kind of like Jezebel, our little demon doll that we found and that travels around with us sometimes. He's a little Bigfoot. He's an outcast Bigfoot. He's kind of small for Bigfoot, and he got made fun of by the other Bigfoot. They wouldn't like him anymore, so they kicked him out. So he's living in that world between humans and Bigfoot, and he's trying to fit in with the people. They found him some clothes. He's been wearing clothes and stuff, and just trying to fit in. Just trying to make.
Carl asked, "How did you start Bodine?"
He just kind of appeared.
Yeah, he just kind of happened one day. Somebody said, "Did you see that Bigfoot over there?" I'm like, "Nope, let's go find out what's going on." And we just started running around with him and having fun. And he goes on investigations with us. He's actually been featured in a movie with James Balsamo with Acid. What's the name of his thing? Acid Bath Productions. He's actually got a little clip of the movie so far. He's talked with having a couple more clips in some other movies. He's Yeah, we've done our own fun with LAP Productions. We do some things with him and stuff, and him and Jezebel, the little demon doll that we got. And it's just something that just kind of happened. We're having fun with it and had taking him around different places. He shows up we was at 101 there in Winchester, Indiana, and we had him going to do a little photo shoot there. Next thing you know, he's walking around downtown Square.
Town Square. People are driving by 2 and 3 times to see if that's what they're seeing.
Showed up at Silicon. He showed up at Ashmore Estates at Ash Bash. Was walking all through the building. He got his pictures with the Ghost Brothers and everybody there.
So how many people got whiplash looking at this thing?
Oh my gosh. There was one older couple
that circled the square about 5 or 6 times.
And they were in a red convertible. And they started to drive by, and the lady's on the passenger side, and she looks again. She's like tapping the guy on the shoulder, and she's pointing, and we start laughing.
He crashed one of the parties at Silicon.
Yeah, he did.
Started doing dancing at the karaoke in the bar.
You know what? We are all, if you guys want to see Bodine, you are going to have to make it to one of the events that Jay and Teresa are going to be at, possibly the suicide awareness one at Ashmore Estates. Other than that, we have got to go. Tune in next week when my guests are Maria and Jay Yates from the Gates Family Haunting. And so it's going to be great. So to make sure you guys tune in next week. Thank you guys so much for being on. It's been a hoot having you on. And you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. You guys want to say bye to everybody?
Thank you all. Have a great night. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. See you Monday.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.